On July 1st, 2025, the Communist Party of China, short form CPC, celebrates its 104th anniversary. According to the latest official statistics, by the end of 2024, the CPC had a total membership of 100,027.1 thousand, with 5,025,000 primary level party organizations. This translates to approximately one party member for every 14 Chinese citizens. Based on an average household size of 5 members, that's grandparents, parents, and one child, China has about 280 million households, with nearly 3 party members per household on average. The key demographic breakdowns include 57,786,000 members, that's about 57.6% of the total, hold junior college degrees or higher, and 30,995,000 members, about 30.9%, are women, and 7,734,000 members, about 7.7%, are from ethnic minorities. Workers and farmers remain the core of the membership, accounting for 32.7%. These statistics convey 5 critical messages to the world. Number 1, CPC is a party representing all Chinese people. Its composition spans all regions, ethnicity, industries, and social strata, reflecting broad national interests. Number 2, a concentration of intellectual and cultural elites. With over half holding advanced degrees, it embodies China's highest productive forces. Number 3, strong female representation. Women's participation rate, 30.9%, surpasses that of other major economies, signaling elevated gender equality. Number 4, proportional ethnic minority inclusion. The share of ethnic minority members, 7.7%, aligns closely with their demographic weight. Number 5, working class foundation. Laborers and farmers form the bedrock, about 32.7%, defining the party's socialist character in the primary stage of socialism. This structure anchors the political and economic framework of socialism with Chinese characteristics. If we extend this message further, it signals to our rapidly transforming world, particularly to those engaged in geopolitical rivalry with China, that they face what appears for now to be an unstoppable force. Every act of contempt, every smear campaign, every tactical maneuver, even threats of hot war, are viewed by China as nothing but petty tricks and futile efforts. Confrontation will only end in your defeat, and the harder you push, the greater you lose. Cooperation alone promises mutual benefit, not a China wins twice scenario, but victory for all. Now, let's welcome Comrade Trump to the stage. Consider this excerpt from his latest interview.
One of them signed a paper saying that he would value Mao Zedong's value system. So there was that. And then they hacked, and they hack into our telecom system. They've been stealing intellectual property. They fentanyl, COVID. I mean, you know, all of this stuff. So how do you negotiate with obviously a bad actor and trust them on economics?
You don't think we do that to them? We do.
So
we do a lot of things.
That's the way the world works?
That's the way the world works. It's a nasty world.
Throughout China's cultural tradition, a fascinating phenomenon has persisted. The distinct attitude towards unapologetic rogues versus sanctimonious hypocrites. Confucius, our philosophical sage, minced no words in his Analects Yang Huo, when despising hypocrites. The virtuous conformists are thieves of morality. I detest purple displacing vermilion. In his another Analects, 邪恶, he warned, honeyed words and flattering looks, rarely do they signify benevolence. Mencius, another giant of Chinese thought, declared, hypocrites leave no handle for criticism, yet offer nothing to praise. Those who fawn obsequiously upon the world are moral impostors. Thus, both of them consigned hypocrites to the bottom of the ethical hierarchy. Confucianism elevates integrity as life's foundation. Doctrine of the mean says integrity is the way of heaven. Taoism champions returning to unadorned truth. This cultural soil nurtured China's reverence for unvarnished authenticity. Now, feast your eyes on this next clip.
别墅里面唱 K， 水池里面饮龙鱼。我送阿硕茶具，他研磨下笔，直接给我。
By the way, in many parts of China, yes, even in international metropolises like Shanghai, it's quite common to see men and women strolling through the streets in vests, shorts, or even full pajama sets, casually going about their own businesses, but normally in a close-knit community environment. Passers-by, even those well-dressed professionals who look like they just stepped out of a fashion editorial, pay no mind whatsoever. In fact, they might even stop to greet an acquaintance and chat for a bit. And somehow, the whole thing feels perfectly normal. No awkwardness at all. On China's Douyin, the Chinese version of TikTok, you will, from time to time, come across videos featuring people wearing flip-flops and looking like your average Joe, only to casually walk into a luxury car dealership and nonchalantly buy a million-bucks luxury car. Chinese netizens call this humble bragging and give it a name as Versailles style, a modern-day cultivation of wealth so refined, known as the art of low-key showing off. But is this uniquely modern Chinese behavior? Hardly. Feast on this historical drama. In 383 AD, the Qianqing Empire launched a massive invasion against Eastern Jin State at the Fei River, today's modern-day Zhou County, Anhui Province in China. A legendary upset unfolded. 70,000 Eastern Jin troops crushed 800,000 Qianqing soldiers, an iconic few versus many victory in Chinese military history. Now entering Xi'an, China's ultimate Renaissance man, hermit, politician, general, poet, swag icon roll into one, essentially the prime minister of his era. Xie was calmly playing Go when the battle report arrived at his desk. One panicked guest whispered with anxiety, "My lord, news from the front?" Xian, with his eyes fixed on the Go board, replied nonchalantly, "My nephew and his squad nailed those bastards," and then dropped a white stone with a clink on the board. China's poetic deity Li Bai once flexed in his verse, "As a child, I mistook the moon for a jade platter." Translation: check it, I was burning with jade since kindergarten. His bring in the wine drops was even a bigger flex. My go first did, my mink coat worth kingdoms. Boy, trade them all for good liquor. The subtext is, imperial gifts, just my liquor fund. Clearly, he didn't give a second thought to the emperor's gifts. Chinese literati have always revered what is known as the cult of Wei Jin's swag, cut to blood-soaked 3rd century China, hates rolling from 3 kingdoms to 8 princes' war. Amidst this chaos, Wei Jin intellectuals became history's most stylish rebels. They were carefree, unrestrained, embodying a life of bold individuality and nonconformity. They practiced a humanistic spirit through their flamboyant lives, becoming an eternal subject of admiration for future generations. For instance, the survival mode ecstatics becomes the scandalous flex. Yuanji howling and moan drunk. My dirge is bigger than your eulogy. And the death-defying chick, Xi Kang strumming guqin before his execution. Last track drops now, vibes eternal. And finally, the philosophical trolling, Liu Ning ordering servants, just bury me where I fall. Back to the present day, the founding father of the People's Republic of China, Mao Zedong, wrote a poem during the Long March, as his ragtag Red Army trying desperately to get out of the encirclement of their enemies. He wrote, "The 5 ridges wound like gentle ripples, while the majestic woman rolled by, globules of clay." In today's layman's language, it reads like this: the never-ending 5 ridges are no more than a swirling noodle boiling in a hot pot. The towering Woman Mountain tumbles past like a dirt-filled scrabble pellets. But the fact was, Mao's Red Army numbered only a few thousand soldiers, half of whom had no guns, while those who did averaged just 1 or 2 bullets each. They traversed over 10,000 kilometers of most snow-capped mountains and grasslands entirely on foot. This is the quintessential Chinese tradition of versatile style, humble bragging. In politically correct term, it is called the romantic spirit of revolution. Remember the official announcement made by the Chinese government after President Trump raised tariffs on China to 145% and China retaliated in kind during the Sino-US tariff war. The Chinese government told the US, as well as the world, if the US government further increases tariffs on China from this point onward, China will not respond. This is another form of vassal style. We have essentially cut off trade with you already. Therefore, we have no interest in engaging in verbal sparring anymore. Do whatever you want. What happened afterwards is common knowledge, so I won't elaborate further here. And now, ladies and gentlemen, time to connect the dots. Seemingly random clips. Behold the scarlet thread of authenticity. When I theorized Zen, that is authenticity, that is the raw, unvarnished realness, I kept invoking Versailles style as its modern avatar. Paradox? Nope. Elite humble bragging requires bedrock truth. Let's cut to the ultimate truth. First, authenticity. Not only commanding the hearts of Chinese people, but also igniting growing aspiration across the global south. Today's CPC has reached the alpha level potency. Try fighting this and see what happens. Point 2. Raw realness. Forget all Trump's flaws. This man weaponizes truth. When facing Hillary Clinton in the presidential election, he dropped the A-bomb. "Yeah, all politicians swam in my cash for decades." Today, again, he tells the planet, every crime we accuse China of, we did it first, did it longer, and did it worse. Americans should grasp this rare feat. When your enemy tip his head mid-battle, you have struck ostentatiety plutonium. And the third truth is that the Chinese people are essentially a people of authentic self, direct and straightforward. We don't play by the fake it till you make it game that some of my Western colleagues do. In business, a handshake is a promise. And in life, we prioritize comfort, are less concerned with minor details. Therefore, acting pretentious around us is absolutely intolerable. For in China's 5,000 years of civilization, there's no political game we haven't played through, and no hypocrites we haven't learned to recognize. Former U.S. Secretary of State Blinken once famously declared to his Chinese guests in Anchorage, "We talk to you from the position of power," ostensibly emphasizing authenticity. And yet, his remark runs as a hollow joke to Chinese ears, for he fundamentally miscalculated the power dynamics of both nations, whether by accident or design. Thus, to my American friends, both known and unknown, and indeed to friends from all nations, I will leave you with the final truth. Outside the casino, Chinese people don't play Texas Hold'em. Pretentiousness not only fails to intimidate the Chinese, but earns their profound contempt. Between an open scoundrel and a sanctimonious hypocrite, the Chinese may show mercy to the former, but for the latter, we will exact due penalty without quarter.